Y'all ready to go? Give me a head nod.
Whenever you are.
There you go. Now, you want to know how silly that looked? Everybody doing that?
You set us up for that, didn't you?
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee meeting for September the 8th, 2020 to order. Let's just go across the screen and announce who we are and who we represent. Scotty, we'll start with you.
Scotty Bush, Hendersonville Fire.
Jim Jones, Hendersonville Police.
Don't be ashamed.
Russ Edwards, Ward 3 Alderman.
Thank you.
Peg Petrelli, Alderman, Ward 1.
Dave Lamar, Bingham City Administrator.
Larry Daniel, Hendersonville Police.
Mickey, you sleep?
I had answered you, but I guess it didn't. I must not have been unmuted. Mickey Miller, Hendersonville Police.
Thank you. Mr. Gilly,
Andy Gilly, Parks Director.
Paul,
Paul Harvesmeyer, Police.
that's all the faces I see. Anyone else there? Okay, I'm Steve Brown, Alderman, Ward 4, and Chairman of the committee. Let's go. I need approval of the minutes for August 11th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Trelli moves, Mr. Edwards seconds. Do a roll call vote. Mr. Edwards,
Aye.
Ms. Petrelli,
Aye.
and myself as an aye. We have a resolution 2020-51 surplus equipment, which is 6 Trek bicycles that are going to be donated to the sheriff's office as they are starting a bike program. I'm the sponsor from that, so I will also move that gets passed.
I'll second it.
Mr. Edwards, Ms. Petrelli, anything? Okay. All in favor, Ms. Petrelli,
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Okay, I'm also an aye. Excuse me, we have ordinance 2020-32, amending and accepting and appropriating a state Tennessee Department of Transportation Highway Safety Grant for $35,000 for the police department, 100% reimbursable grant for DUI, speed enforcement, and traffic safety. There's no match on our part, does not cost us a dime.
Also move.
Mr. Edwards
Second.
and Ms. Petrelli's second. Any discussion? Okay, keep writing grants like 100%, like the 80%, like the 90%, really like the 100%. So, all right, Mr. Edwards, do you approve?
I approve.
Ms. Petrelli,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes. Okay. Chief Bush, I want you to give an update on the RFQ on Station 7, but I want to tell you that I appreciate you and your dive team for where they were at and what they had to do this past weekend. Haven't done that, but that's got to be a tough job. So please pass on from me, and I think probably I could speak for this committee and everybody on this screen that we appreciate the work that you have to do in situations like that, both with our fire department and the police department has to do the same things once in a while. So again, just pass that on, but we thank them greatly.
We'll do it. I mean, we did it with HPD's help, so it's always good when you can work together. So, but I'll definitely pass that on. Thank you.
All right.
Only update I've got really is talk a little bit about the staff meeting today. We had 20 people submit RFQs or qualifications for Station 7. We're going to try to narrow that down by the end of the week to maybe the top 3 or 4. I don't know that we've picked a number as far as the final, but I would say it's probably going to be 3 or 4. And we'll just move forward from there. Looks like we got quite a few qualified candidates that out of those 20. So we'll see who comes to the top when we rate them and score them. And that's really it on 7, unless you guys have any questions.
Mr. Edwards,
I don't have any questions.
Ms. Petrelli.
No, sir.
Okay, I have none either. All right, thanks, Chief. All right, number 6 on our agenda is ordinance 2020-35, an ordinance amending the Hendersonville Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 1, peddlers and solicitation fees. Kay, you're here. There you are. I'm sponsoring this simply because of the fact that it's time that we raise our solicitation fees. And I'm going to let Ms. Franklin, her and the ladies up front handle these permits and stuff when they come through and running background checks and what's happened cost wise and stuff to that. So, Kay, can you help us understand?
I can. We use a company to perform these background checks. And depending on the number of states that someone has lived in, kind of depends on the cost for the background check. And the different states charge different fees. And we got word last week that New York State is raising their fees by $30, going to $95 to provide that information to the company. So we just thought to keep current, we might need to look at raising our application fee as well.
How much is it? Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, some don't cost that much, some cost close to that much. And like I said, one from New York would pretty well cover it.
Can I ask a question, Chairman?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
What is it now? What's the application fee now?
75.
Okay. Is this really enforced? Do the police actually request to see any of these solicitors' permits?
Yes.
Well, I think so, yes.
Okay, good.
We've actually in the past, Russ, caught people that were going around soliciting for magazine sales, breaking in houses.
Good.
Just last week, we got 29 applications for a company coming in to do soliciting. That's in addition to, we've probably already issued 100 this spring and summer.
Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How late can solicitations go? Is it till dark or is it till a certain time?
We always caution them not to go after dark.
But is there a hard rule?
I don't believe there is, Fig.
Could we, Chairman, would you consider putting a hard rule in there for how late somebody could go? Most people don't like folks knocking on their doors after 6, 7 o'clock at night.
We can make a hard rule, but I think that would have to be added to an ordinance or a separate ordinance.
We
This
would
is just-
I don't believe we have that in our ordinance. Right offhand, I can't remember, but we can always look at amending that as well.
Okay, so why don't we do that?
Current on the fee.
Sure, yeah, we'll keep this one on the fee, and then if you don't mind pulling that other ordinance, we could bring it back to look at times and get those, the latest times a little bit more reasonable, so everybody's on the same page.
Actually, I do think that we have something on the books. I can't remember what it is right now, but it seems like dusk or sunset to me.
I believe I remember something like that. I know we have something on construction noises.
Yeah, I've got the construction ordinances in my mind because I hear that more than I do the soliciting, but for some reason I thought we had set a time of dusk.
Chairman, may I
I hear
speak?
someone who's on there.
Apologies, this is Robert Manning. I wanted
Okay.
to say, I've looked at it here. It says no solicitation shall begin prior to 8 a.m. and solicitation is only allowed during daylight hours.
Okay,
Said through daylight hours is what it said.
during,
Yes.
We could always look at that, and make it that a little harder, and set a specific time and or, sunset. There's a lot of daylight hour after sunset. So.
Yeah,
That's
I'd
some-
like maybe 7 p.m., no later than that. People get a little bit unnerved when folks are knocking on their doors after that time.
Yeah, I would support that. 7 p.m. is probably reasonable. I don't know how early people are going. 8 a.m. sounds a little early. Maybe since we're changing it anyway, maybe we could say 10 a.m.
That's a great idea.
You may also want to consider times of change in daylight savings, because that'll vary with the darkness, just for thought.
I just saw
Okay.
the weather, they said sunset today is 7:03.
Robert, if you have that ordinance still in front of you, I do not have the ordinance. Is the fee and the times and is all that in one ordinance that you're reading?
It is all within the same code. However, they are separate. Let's see
We
here.
can amend the code.
Right. I may have to pull that back up to answer your question.
It's in separate sections of the same code. 9-109 is the times.
Right. There you go.
Okay, so we could go ahead and approve this change tonight and then come back and ask for the other piece of code to be amended.
That sounds great.
Yes.
All right, so what we'll do tonight is we'll go ahead and change the fee to $100 if everybody's in favor of that. And then come back next month and look at changing the times. I know we've talked about that before. And, all right, everybody good? Any more questions, statements? Okay. All right, all in favor of changing our application fee basically from $75 to $100, please say aye. Mr. Edwards,
All right.
Ms. Petrelli,
Aye.
and myself is also an aye. So that's all I have on the agenda, folks, unless anybody has anything they'd like to bring up, talk about safety. Be glad to do it.
If you don't mind, I'd like to make everybody aware about the ceremony on Friday.
Yes, sir.
So it's the 19th year of the 9/11 ceremony. We'll be having it at Memorial Park at 9 a.m. So I sent it out to all the department heads and BOMA. And then, of course, anybody else that's listening via Zoom that wants to attend. And then next year will be a little bit bigger and a little bit better. We'll have our memorial in place, and we're planning a big service for that on the 20-year anniversary. But come one, come all on Friday at 9 o'clock. The department extends the invitation to whoever would like to come. We would certainly like to see folks there.
Chairman
Right.
Brown, I've got one more thing to add, if you don't mind.
That's sure. Go ahead.
So also, just so everybody's aware, MPO Bristol was unanimously selected by the state committee to receive the 3 Stars of Tennessee Award. And that award will be presented to him by the state this Friday at 10 a.m. at Hermitage Hills Baptist Church. So he was unanimously selected by the committee to receive that award.
Chief Jones, will you all be doing a press release on that on Facebook so that we can share that?
We can do that, yes, ma'am.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anybody else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr.
So
Strauss
moved.
and General Committee sitting in the wings.
So moved.
Second,
Second. All in favor, say aye. Ms. Petrelli,
aye.
Mr. Edwards,
Aye.
myself is an aye. Mr. Campbell, are you having a good time on vacation?
Yes, I am. Just came in from the
Okay, we're
beach. Thank
adjourned.
you. In a bit.
I'm sitting here talking and saying stuff, and I'm supposed to be
I just turned it on to answer him right then. That's all I said. You
We
heard.
didn't hear you.
Not a word.